Now, this video may be a little lengthy. I thought about doing it with one of my, stand-up videos where I have my scripts and all of that, but I think this is a good opportunity to kind of go off the head. I seem to be a lot better, certainly when we talk about stuff like this. Was going to save it for a podcast. May still do a podcast on it, but I did want an individual video because it seems like every other video that I do, I have somebody commenting about the Coppa thing because of the kind of content that I create, considering that it's surrounded by around comics. And sometimes comics can be what can, I guess, be considered more kid friendly, aimed at children and stuff like that. And I think that's why a lot of people are commenting on it, wanting me to get my comments. Some people have gone as far as say that I can't even, starting next year, won't be able to even post this sort of material. Now, after, understanding what copy is, reading through some of the terms and such as far as YouTube and their approach and doing some research in that regards, what it seems like, in my honest opinion and my honest just individual analysis of this whole situation, is that if you don't make real content that is it is aimed at kids, you're going to be fine for the most part. Or if you even make something that can sort of blur those lines, but you go ahead and just deem it as, look, this ain't kid friendly or what have you, you're going to be fine. The people that are going to have those issues are the ones that are, they do a lot of video game content, do a lot of comic book stuff as well, and just obviously children oriented stuff, but things that can blur that line in terms of that age, because what they consider a child, be it in Coppa and what YouTube is running with, as well as anything under the age of 13. So there obviously is going to be material that is out there that is going to be created that is going to appeal to people that are 13, 14, 15 years old. So when you're putting out that sort of content, those are the people that have to worry. And I know that YouTube is making some changes going into 2020 regarding that sort of material, that you're not going to have the certain sort of access that maybe other channels have if you make stuff that's aimed at kids. But those guys, especially the ones that are sort of those in-betweeners, seem to be the people that are going to have the most problems out of this entire deal. Now, what is this on my hat? That's been on my hat this whole time. Didn't know that. Okay. This reminds me a lot of a recent scenario in which everybody was pearl clutching, fading couch, dramatizing, and stuff like that. And that was the whole net neutrality thing. Now, granted, when you talk about the FTC and such, it's a little different in terms of what government body is facilitating this. And I'm completely aware of that. I'm completely knowledgeable. I'm knowledgeable on that sort of idea. But it's odd to see people that are on that opposite side, because I'm seeing some of the same YouTubers, some of the same names that are like, well, look at what happened. YouTube creators are screwed out of all of this. And the reason why I'm saying that, and to backtrack for those that don't know really what's taking place, what seems to have happened is that YouTube had a settlement with the government, federal government, and essentially paying them $170 million advance because of the fact that they weren't really obliging by said Coppa law, because they were not only, be it cookies and such, being collected and all of that, but more so on the lines of the fact that they were going out of their way to really bring in people to their platform, though they were claiming to the contrary that it was for 13 years of age older, bringing people to the deal to YouTube that were under the age of 13. So they were like, all right, screw it, you win. Here's $170 million. And not only that, not only do you get the $170 million anytime you want to come through and sweep our material and you want to then go and find certain people that haven't been labeling their future videos properly, saying that they're not, or they are aimed at kids and such. What is being obviously reported is that you can be fined up to $42,000 per video and such. And they're saying that they'll gladly work with the government. And if you guys are labeling labeling your information properly, they're going to find you. It's almost like YouTube is sort of passing. This is what a lot of approach that people have. Is like YouTube's like, all right, we took our hit. Now we're not doing this anymore. We're going to give these guys the ability and the option to label it themselves. We'll have our sort of algorithm and machinery and so forth that will, try to make sure this stuff is labeled properly. But you are going to be the guys that are going to get fined, not us. We already took our hit, which is more so what it sounds like, right? So, and I get that, right? But this is the danger that you have, and this is what I was trying to tell people with the whole net neutrality thing. And I know this is going to get a lot of down votes because I'm not doing the same old fear mongering that everybody else is doing regarding this issue. And I don't think I should let people make it when I had not, Google and all of these massive tech companies, which conned you guys, a lot of the creators on YouTube, into believing that this net neutrality thing was this positive thing in which government was protecting you and so forth, when it wasn't even, when that certainly wasn't the case. Now few years have passed, and then everything's all good. And I did a follow-up video. I did a video on the original net neutrality because it was not what you guys were saying thinking this is protecting you from monopolistic sort of internet companies and such like that. That was not the case. All it was two massive, tech companies on different sides, not necessarily tech companies, but just corporations on different sides, where you had like cable companies, internet companies, as well as on the opposite side, a lot of massive corporations. The fact that people were peddling this nonsensical idea that it was just the massive corporations are the bad guys here. It's like, dude, there's massive corporations on both sides. Well, you had the Spotifys of the world, the Facebooks of the world that were taking the side of net neutrality, conning you guys into believing that was what it was. But this is what you get, dude. This is what you get when you have government sort of regulating markets as such. And I know it does get blurry and a little confusing when you consider the fact that we're talking about kids, right? And we all recognize them as innocent. We don't want anything harmful to happen. We don't want anybody being predatory towards kids and so forth. The problem is that if you think that the government is the agency that's supposed to be responsible for that in this regard, certainly when we're talking about digital information and such, it's not going to work out like you think it is. And quite often, it's not going, like, that's $170 million. They're going to make that back. It's a hit. It hurts. Don't get me wrong. That's a lot of money, right? It hits, but they're going to be able to make that back. But they're going to make the adjustments so they don't have to take hits like that. And quite often the creators are going to be the ones that get screwed over. But this is what happens when you get these guys working together as such. They're saying like, dude, all right, whatever, man. We're going to hold the L. That's fine. You can go sweep these content creators and fine them $42,000. And there you have it. But I can't take people serious who were then on the opposite side of net neutrality, in which they gladly were trying to give government the power. But you give them, that's what happens. That is what happens, man. People get screwed over out of this situation. And in this case, it's the creators. All the time, man. Like, this is what happens when you let government get involved in something that they shouldn't even be involved. They should be regulating it as such. We get it. We don't want people being predatory towards kids, but it's the government the most responsible, certainly, agency when it comes to. I can easily say you should be parenting your kids if that's something that you're worried about, and such. But this is what you get. You get what you deserve. Now, I've long said that you are a bloody fool if you are putting, as a content creator, all of you, and this is why people freak out when stuff like this happens, be it net neutrality or what have you, because they've placed their entire lives on and they put it like on these individual sort of platforms, right? They may have a platform or two that they're on, but a lot of YouTubers are YouTubers, right? So if YouTube yanks the cord on their channels or in any way, shape, or form, they're done. They're done. They're done. That's their whole entire livelihood. I've long said that you should not be placing stock in YouTube or any other institution or any other company like that, to where that's all that you have as a content creator, that is. And I get it's a great way to make money. No cost to you except with the equipment and stuff that you may use to make your videos. But it's one of those things you can create your, if you're full-time YouTube, you create your own hours, you do, like, I get all that. That's what makes YouTube awesome. It has been able, is a creative way that has been utilized to fund a lot of people's just lives in general. You know, they eat off of YouTube, and I get it. I absolutely get it. They eat off YouTube. I ain't knocking nobody for doing that. I ain't knocking nobody for eating off YouTube, man. But in the same respects, you are a fool because stuff like that, certainly when you consider the direction that they've been going, and that you got to understand, advertisers really run YouTube, right? Collectively, because YouTube makes money off the advertisers. Even though YouTube really does, YouTube, the only job that they do, and only job they have to do, is have a platform in which you guys do the work for them. Us, myself, you do all the work for them in terms of the content. You make the content. They put the ads on there. People see it. It's a genius deal because it's little. It's little to do with them. They have little they have to do other than maintain the actual platform, and try to keep the creators happy. And they ride off into the sunset, making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. Right, with them having, they don't really have to do anything other than make sure that the platform is able to function. Right. But the advertisers run it. So if anything that has to do with that, which hurts their bottom line, which actually in turn hurts you, that's the kind of complicated thing that a lot of people don't understand when it comes to YouTube, is that if the advertisers are screwed over or people are screwed over in that element, every YouTuber is screwed over as well. So really the advertisers run this, right? And YouTube has gone these routes to try to make it more advertiser friendly, and such, and in turn, it's funny enough, a lot of these people have been taken off of, had their YouTube pages demonetized, taken off of YouTube, and now you got some people that are actually advocating, laughing, and all of that stuff. Now, like, shocked out of this whole deal, because now YouTube is becoming a little more strict out of what have happened. I believe that what the amendment to the Coppa Act was in 2013, right? And they had been complying for about 6. So in 2018, I believe that was when the settlement happened, if I'm not mistaken, and everything sort of going into effect going in now in 2020. But you had so many individuals that have been praising this whole idea of people being demonetized, deplatformed, that are now freaking out because they may make content that blurs those lines, and just the overall idea that YouTube can say, y'all gonna get fined. That ain't got nothing to do with us. Now we giving you the opportunity to label your content. And even labeling your content, you may still get screwed over, whatever. Let the feds do what they need to do. Let them sweep. You know what I'm saying? And in doing so, because they want to make sure they're fixed, they get their bottom line is taken care of, they will be taking people's pages down just so they are in compliance with government laws and whatever settlement, which they're never going to tell us about everything that popped off in the settlement. So Lord knows what all has been popping off in terms of the government, or most of the federal government, and whatever deals YouTube has made in terms of making sure that they're in compliance going forward, that they didn't tell you about. But at the end of the day, it's going to force them to change their policies, because they don't want to run into an instance where they're getting fined or having to cough up and settle because of these activist groups are like, YouTube, you've been screwing up and targeting kids under 13, show me the money, right? They don't want to go through another deal like that. So what they're going to do is what they're doing now is to continue to make adjustments. So I encourage people that think this whole deplatform because it's not you and somebody's on a different side of the political spectrum as you. It's fun. It's all fun and games. But also to the net neutrality types who think that the government's there to protect you and their federal agencies are there to protect you in this regards from the evil corporations, right? The evil, big, massive corporations. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and a lot of times it doesn't work out in the way that you think because you now give them power to do stuff like this. And here we are. And even still, with all of this crap going on, you still got people being more mad at YouTube than they are with the federal government. Yeah, that's where you should start. If they don't get involved in this, we're not even having this conversation. I get it, man. You guys think that the feds are this, it's the government, right? They are there to preserve and protect the people. They're there to serve and protect the people. But when you get certainly, and really what happens is sort of like what happens now, a couple arguments get made, a couple arguments take place. Boom, now they're working together. And quite often when you get, and I mean, they always work together like this anyway, but quite often when you get big, massive corporations in bed, which are really synonymous to government in that regards, but when you get them working together as such, the people that are going to be screwed over are not, for the most part, in terms of you being hurt the most is going to be those individuals, such as in this case, the creators. So this should teach you guys, and I hope it does, but it won't because people are going to just call for more government control and stuff like that. I wish it would, in a perfect world, it would get you guys to understand that anytime government gets involved, something's going to turn to crap. And it's not to say the corporations are going to be perfect, right? Certainly someone as big as influential as Google and YouTube. Not saying that at all. They're going to do things that are whack as well. But I'm telling you, man, it's going to be the preferable alternative. I think Google will be way more easier to fight in terms of some of the policies that they had, minus the government and minus people, not even minus the government, just that minus people looking to them to save them from this situation. But most importantly, if you take nothing else from this video and you're a creator that's come across this and you made it to the end of this video without clicking off on it and saying, oh, this guy's an idiot, he's just an anarchist that, hates everything government, he doesn't know what he's talking about, yada, yada, yada. Let me go to some other enraged YouTuber who's mad and such. But if you make it to the end of this video, if you learn nothing else, YouTube doesn't have to be forever. It's going to be hard to dethrone them. There are people always say, well, somebody got to create an alternative. There's alternatives right now that exist. Are they as big? Are they as effective? Are they as smooth as YouTube? Absolutely not. They're not familiar. People aren't familiar with, but they exist. But they don't have to stay there. And you can be part of not only creating alternative platforms, supporting alternative platforms as well. But you as a creator should not be it doesn't matter if it's Facebook, YouTube, or what have you. Find other ways to monetize your content. That's just me giving you advice. This is why I don't do that. I have my content on so many different things on top of just your standard run-of-the-mill work stuff that I do with writing and stuff, right? Because if at any point in time, and they do this purposely, right? In which they are sometimes vague in terms of the terms that they have of service. When it comes to monetization, when it comes to having your page banned, strikes and such, it just depends on how the manual reviewer feels at the time, right? And then you become the victim. You get your page yanked. You get your page completely demonetized. And now this one thing that you have been depending on for your main source of income is gone. So if you learn nothing else from my video, as a creator, understand that Stop putting everything in YouTube right now. If no more point in time, you should be now incentivized to look to alternative methods, not just in the platforms in terms of getting your content on different platforms, but way you have fan bases, way you can monetize them. And it can be difficult to find, definitely when depending on the type of content that you create, to monetize them. Be it through crowdfunding and find other ways. Because at some point in time, if you are not in the grace of the YouTube gods, now the FTC gods, the federal government gods, which thinks they're God, by the way. But if you're not in their good grace, God forbid, no pun, your page might be gone. And what you've been depending on, just like that, in an instant, and you have nothing to fall back on, or you're having to scramble to try to remonetize no, you should be looking to that now. As a creator, you should be looking to that now. This platform might die, might not die. We'll see. Maybe another case of everybody dramatizing events and everything's okay. But if nothing else, you got to look to alternative ways to monetize your audience if you are depending on this for a legitimate source and a main source of income. Spread your stuff around, man. Spread your content around. Find creative ways to stay in contact if something with your main primary viewers, because people have no issues of supporting your material if it is material that people thoroughly enjoy. They have no problem paying for it. So figure out creative ways to monetize them, to have a direct line with the people that your primary supporters, because at any point in time on any given platform, it could be stripped from you, and then you're left with your pants down. This video is not intended for kids.